Hey, Sean, this is Kent with WHAS 11. What led to this decision for you?
First and foremost, Ken, I want to thank everybody for joining. There's a lot going on in the world today, with a dire need for social justice and equality, and the pandemic, and hurricanes and forest fires. So, I feel like such a small piece to this puzzle that it seems kind of silly that I would garner this attention. But Kenny asked me to do this, and I'm happy to oblige. So I thank everybody for coming out and joining. It's funny. Over the past, I'd say 3 or 4 years, there have been times where I've looked forward to a weekend that included two road games more than I look forward to home games, because I can get some cold drinks, I can sit on the couch, I can be with my family, and I can just be a fan. And I've been in this industry almost 30 years, working the 50, 60 hour weeks and nights and weekends. And I'm going to be 50 here in about a week, and it's been a grind, and it gets to a point where my passion for it wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, and I'd like to think that never necessarily showed up in my performance. But I just got the sense that it was kind of time for me to move on to something new, and I'm at an age where I can have something new and enjoy that for a few years. So it's I know most people in my seat usually keep the mic in their hand until they kick them out, but it was nice to be able to make this decision for me, and I'm excited for the future, and I'm also just so grateful for the unbelievable 21 years I had.
Sean, Eric Crawford from WDRB. Could you walk us back through how you wound up behind the mic to start with? If you can think back that far, a lot of us were around when you first got here, but maybe if you could give us a minute on that.
Are you wanting to go all the way back or just Louisville?
Well, Louisville really was my main question.
Sure. Well, when I was at Colorado State, which is in my hometown of Fort Collins, Colorado, I was working for the flagship radio station, and I was doing some PA work for the and doing women's basketball on the radio play-by-play in addition to high school. And I got to know Tom Jurich as he was the AD there. And so when he took the job here at Louisville, and it became apparent that John Tong was going to end his incredible career, Tom gave me a call. And I had never been to Louisville. I couldn't locate it on a map, but I knew what Tom Jurich had done at Colorado State, and I knew what he was going to do at Louisville, although I don't know that I could have predicted exactly what he did. But I just knew he was somebody I wanted to work for, and it was too great an opportunity not to take advantage of. And it was the ability to do something I love. And at the time, I was the PA announcer for the Avalanche and the Nuggets in my hometown, and it was a dream job at home, but I've always had an affinity for collegiate athletics, and the NBA strike influenced that decision a little bit, and just the stability. And it's something I've never lived to regret. It's been an amazing time, and I really didn't know what to expect when I came to Louisville. I joked that it was going to be maybe like a junior college or a college. I'd be here for 2 or 4 years, and maybe I'd move on. But now, 21 years later, here I am.
Sean, this is Ken again. Other than continuing to wear shorts in the wintertime, what is next for you? What's the next chapter?
I don't have anything specifically lined up. I've had for a long time in Colorado, I had great connections to do a lot of commercial voiceover work, and I would love to maybe refocus on that. Unfortunately, that's like rain. You can't predict it, so it's not really something to rely on. But I actually, for a time, had an agent and was actually in a feature film. And I'm kind of a hack, but there is a niche for sports announcers in movies, and that was the niche I actually got to fill in a movie, and it was a great time. So I would love to explore that again and maybe get some representation. People that know me well, and this falls right in line with the shorts, Kent, I've always fancied myself thinking that being a UPS driver in a mountain town out west would be a great job. Physical activity, being outside, wearing shorts, making people happy. So I honestly wouldn't rule that out. And as a kid, it was always a dream of mine to work for the National Park Service. Yellowstone, Teton, Rocky Mountain National Park. The outdoors is always a huge part of my life. For the first 28 years I lived in Colorado, and I may get back to those roots at some point, but my intent now is to try to see if I can be on the microphone for a few more trips to Omaha, and I'd love to see that national championship come our way. And that's I think that's making this bittersweet day a little more easy, because I get that opportunity still to be connected to the Cardinals and really do what is my first love, and that is radio.
Sean, Mark Baker from thecrunchzone.com. I'm curious, like, what advice would you give to the next person that is behind the mic for the PA for U of L?
It's really something I haven't thought about. I think it's crucial to be you. You know, I don't think you can try to be anybody else, because it's not fair. And I know that when I came in, I replaced someone who had been there to a point where I still haven't met someone who can tell me who did PA at Freedom Hall before John Tong. To this day, I've never met anybody that can tell me that. And so to say I was replacing a legend was an understatement. And I'm humbled, if not chuckling, at the fact that Kenny decided to use the word iconic. I don't see myself in that light, but you know, I think it's crucial to anybody that they have to be themselves. They have to be true. And I think that it's people never came to the games, you know, to see me, and they didn't leave the games talking about me. I was just part of the game. And you know, I think it's crucial to understand your place, and to understand, you know, that first basket of the game is not nearly as exciting as the last basket of the game, and to understand you know, what the place is, what the situation is, and what your responsibility is. And ultimately, it was just my responsibility to make the experience better for the athletes and the fans. And I hope I did that.
Sean, this is great Chance Radio. What do you credit your long tenure and your popularity as a PA announcer? What was it that people liked? Was it your style? What was it?
Dumb luck and good bosses. I don't know. You know, it's I've always taken maybe even a critical amount of pride in professionalism and preparation. And I know some people may kind of because of my style, but I lay awake at night thinking about the slightest mistake I made in a game or in a broadcast, and I don't tolerate that from myself. And in that way, I'm my own worst critic. And maybe it was that allowed me to hone my skills. I don't know. I'd like to think on the radio broadcast with baseball that it's me having a conversation with somebody, knowing that they can't be there, and trying to provide them every last bit of information about what's happening. And with PA, you know, I think if you're not saying awful things and you do a decent job, you're going to keep a job. You know, it's I don't want to say it's a hard job to lose, because I'm sure people have, but I guess maybe that'd be a better question for some of the people around me. I don't know.
Hey, Sean, Michael McCann from Cardinal Authority. I know this may be a lengthy list or something you might need to even ponder for a lot longer, but are there a couple moments that maybe, you know, stand out from these past 20 years as favorites?
Yeah, Michael, that's a great question. I get posed that all the time. We won the 2013 national championship in men's basketball, and that run was fun. 5 college World Series trips. You know, the beauty of my job is I could be the worst radio or PA announcer in the world, but if the teams are good, I'm going to ride their coattails. And that's what I've had the pleasure and honor of doing here at Louisville. When people compliment me on the baseball broadcast, I say, you know, it's a lot easier when the team's really good. And so the first super regional win over Oklahoma State in Game 3 was an incredible memory. One of my favorite games of all time was a College Cup soccer game that was in the Elite Eight against UCLA in a blizzard. I stood on the rooftop of the press box at Cardinal Park and broadcast that game to what could have been 8 people, what could have been 8,000 people on the web. I didn't know. I was just talking about a soccer game, and it was an epic battle. It was a historic day for the program. And I'll be honest, in kind of reflecting the past few days, it's kind of fun to think that the last call I made at the Yum Center was a 3-pointer by Keith Otto. You know, that was what college athletics is all about, and that was really special. And so many to mention, and I've been given great opportunities outside of the athletic department too. I had the honor of being the voice of God at the dedication of the Ali Center, and then again at his memorial service. And I've been able to be out in the community to do events, not as many as I would like. I mentioned the movie. The opportunities have been great, and yeah, the list of games is long. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the last game at Freedom Hall. I don't know that there's ever been another experience like that. The electricity in that building is something that will never be repeated.
Sean, Mark Blankenbaker again. I am, cards first down is, one of those traditions that, we can attribute, most closely to you. I mean, where do you think it goes from there? And do you want to see that kind of move on with whoever's next?
As far as I'm concerned, it's the fans. So I don't see any reason not to keep it. I don't take any ownership. There are other programs that have done it before I did it. It's just something I brought here to Louisville because I love when the fans have an opportunity to be an active part of the process, so to speak. So I'd love to see it continue, but I would never say it has to or it's going to. I guess that'll just be a wait and see. But whoever takes that seat has my blessing. That would be fantastic. I would be honored. And again, it's really more about the fans and about the players than anything else.
Sean, hey, it's Jody Dimling with Cardinal Authority. You mentioned earlier about the pandemic and everything. The last few months in the baseball season of having a few weekends at home, how much did that lend in you thinking about, this in this process of being home with your family and deciding, hey, I kind of don't like the grind anymore?
It definitely had a huge impact, and it's interesting because with all due respect to Kenny and with all due respect to you guys in the media, it really isn't a great time to be in athletics right now. And there's a lot of instability. There's a lot of question marks. This decision I've made, it could come to pass that there's not another game that I would have worked until the new year. It's hard to say. And so definitely had an impact. My son graduated remotely from college with a degree, and I'm excited about the opportunity to follow his path in theater and writing and directing and who knows what. And, there were a lot of events and milestones in his lifetime that I missed, because of this, and some big ones. And so, now that he's moved on from college, the opportunity to have some free time to take a weekend and see one of his ventures definitely has an impact. And I think as anybody knows, it's been a very unusual 6 months. I think back to that Wednesday elementary school day baseball game against Chicago State. And I distinctly remember on the broadcast watching the elementary school kids putting hand sanitizer on and practicing as many safety procedures as they could with what we knew about the virus, and thinking, I hope this doesn't have a really big impact. And then 24 hours later, we went 0 to 100 and everything was canceled. And so, the uncertainty and yeah, the opportunity to be with family definitely had an impact, Jody.
Hey, Sean, this is Matt McGavick with Sports Illustrated. You said that you want to stay on the play-by-play calls for baseball for a few more Omaha trips, but how much longer could you see yourself doing radio calls for baseball games here at Louisville?
As long as they'll have me. A lot of that's contingent on, me finding gainful employment. As kind as they are with baseball, that's not something I could make a living on. So definitely would need something to work hand in hand with that, and a pretty understanding boss to allow me to be busy with baseball. But I'm hopeful that can be the case. The beauty of it is while athletes get to my age and there's no question their career's over, knock on wood over here, that my voice is going to be good and strong and my mind's going to be good and strong for many years to come. So, I don't know that I have a timeline on that. Just looking forward to the 2021 season because it's a great roster, great coaching staff, and looking forward to another great year.
Any further questions?
Well, I want to thank everybody again. It's I can count on one hand how many times I've tailgated in my life, and so I'm looking forward to experiencing that. And I'm looking forward to being a fan. I'm looking forward to seeing you all as well. I know I've had an opportunity with many of you as an SID for 9 years on Kenny's staff to interact with you guys. And it's always good to see you in the media room and that, and I'm certainly going to miss out on that. But you know how to reach me. And if you know anybody that's hiring, let me know. But thanks again for joining. Everybody, please be safe.
Thanks, Sean, and thanks everybody for joining us today. That'll conclude our call for today. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck, Sean.
Thank you very much.